Hello and welcome to today's LinkAbility webinar, our final one for 2021. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm Linnea Johnston, the Word Wizard, and as always, we are recording today's webinar so that if you wish to look at it later, then you are very welcome to do so. We're going to be talking about profiles today and the changes, new features to them of 2021 and how you can use those to great advantage in 2022 to get ahead of your competition. Now, if you have questions as we go through today, I invite you to put those into the Q&A, which is where I am most likely to see them, and we will try to get through to those at the end. Now, there will be more questions raised from the presentation today than I will be able to answer. So I apologise in advance for that, but anyone who doesn't get a question answered by me at the end will get a personal message either as part of the email we send out with the replay or later on in a DM. So we have a lot to do today, so let's get started. We're going to cover two main areas. We're going to talk about the top 5 new features of 2021, and we're going to look at 5 strategies for marketing on LinkedIn in 2022 that use them exceedingly well. Now, before we begin, I need to say that there are more than 5 new features on LinkedIn this year, and they have been almost constant in a way, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. We have taken, though, the top 5 that we believe are the most important, and we're going to have a look at those and some examples. The ones that we think are the most important are these 5. Content creator, the cover story video, that's the video that appears up with your profile photo, 5-star reviews, which are part of providing services, newsletters, which just arrived in the last fortnight to most people, and changes to company pages. First up, let's look at content creator. Now, this arrived earlier in the year and is designed for people who are publishing and posting on LinkedIn to a great degree. It has also other uses, but that's the main aim of it, for content to be seen more widely. Now, whether or not that proves to be the case hasn't yet been established, but the thing that you need to know about content creator is that it is either on or it's off. Now, if it's on and you can turn it on, it's off by default. It also changes a number of things. So there are areas on your profile that you can't change independently of content creator. And one of those is the connect and follower button. Once you turn on content creator, then your connect button disappears and follower displays instead. Now, you may prefer that, a lot of people do, and I can tell you that what happens as a result is that your invite numbers, your connection invite numbers just plummet because people have to go through extra steps to connect with you. So you may find they'll follow you, but they won't connect to you. And this will mean if you want connections as opposed to followers, that you need to reach out to those followers independently and ask them to connect. Now then, let's have a look at what content creator does in terms of our profiles. Now, firstly, in the image on the top left here, you may be able to see, it's a bit small, I apologize for that, but let me just run my cursor over it so you can see what I'm talking about. Over in this area here, there are a couple of changes. The first is that it shows your follower number. Now, that, of course, is different from your connection number, but it shows it right up here at the top. So do be aware of that. The second thing is that it also notes here the hashtags that you say that you write content about. So the best way to make use of this is to always use these hashtags when you are posting content. You may want to add others as well, but these are the ones that you should always include because then that will help your content to be seen by more people. One of the other changes, one of the several changes with this section by turning on Content Creator that you'll notice is a change in your activity section. So before, when you had no Content Creator, there were 4 items in this section, and now there are 6. Also, before, what displayed here was comments that you had made, likes that you had put on people's posts, and shares of posts too. But now all people are seeing here is your content. So that's why it's ideal for people who are posting or publishing content on LinkedIn. Now, what happens though if you don't publish a lot of content is that this area looks a bit slim indeed, and that is one of the downsides. So you need to be aware that this is what is going to display, and 6 items as opposed to 4. It's great for people like me who do publish a lot of content, because it means that someone going to my profile is going to see all of the different things that are there. Now, that isn't actually from my profile, but from a client's, and you can see all these areas are different posts that she has put up. The other thing that it changes, the Content Creator changes on your profile, is the order. Now, this may be a good thing too for you, or it may not. Currently, with the Content Creator turned off, your About section, which is a major and important section of your profile, sits underneath your introduction card here at the top. Now, when you turn creator mode on, it moves down to underneath your activity section. That pushes up your featured section and obviously your activity section too. So this means that if you have a lot of good information, good visual content in your featured section, it is going to be very eye-catching when people visit your profile. But if you don't have much content there, or you don't regularly change it, then that isn't going to be terribly helpful either. So my suggestion is that you really think carefully about what you are doing with Content Creator and whether you want to have it on or not. Now, I originally had it on, turned it off because I didn't like the effects, some of the effects I was getting, but I have recently decided that I'm going to give it a better try. I tried it for 5 weeks. I'm going to give it right through till Christmas, and then if I really don't think that it's helping me, I'm going to turn it off again. But right now, I'm giving it another jolly good try. Cover story videos. Now, these showed up a little earlier in the year, and they are a great addition to profiles, and I'm not sure why people are not using them more, but they are a great way to be able to introduce yourself on a video to potential clients, customers, and people that you may want to develop a relationship with. So I think they are an excellent idea if you make sure that you abide by the rules, as it were. They can only be 30 seconds long. They should be recorded in portrait mode. So that's long and thin, and they need to include captions so that people can read what you're saying, even if they can't hear what it is. So it looks like this when you take a still photo from it. The first 3 seconds of your profile cover video will run automatically when someone visits your profile. After that, it stops and reverts to your photo again, but when somebody clicks on your photo to open up the video, this is what displays. So you want to make a good job of this, and I suggest telling people who you are, what you do, who you help, how you help them, and the results that you can expect. And I finish mine off by inviting people to connect with me or to follow. Now, it sounds like a lot to get into 30 seconds, but you'd be amazed at how much that you can get into this. Now, I believe that this is going to become as ubiquitous on profiles as profile photos are, which means then that we are going to see a lot more of these. And you can tell if someone has a cover video on their profile by the orange band that sits around the left-hand side of their photo. Now, we believe so strongly that this is going to be important in 2022 that we've added it to our profile update service so that anybody coming to us to have their profile update will have a cover video included in that so that they can get off to the best possible start with their LinkedIn marketing. Another new arrival this year, which I am particularly pleased about, has been FiveStar Reviews. Now, these are part of providing services, which, as I've said, sits at the top of your LinkedIn profile in that introduction card. Now, you can invite up to 20 people, potentially clients, people who know you, but preferably clients, to write you a review. You can only invite 20, at least up until the end of the year. No one knows really what's going to happen after that. But we suggest, therefore, only asking clients to make a review, to write a review about you, if you really believe they're going to give you 5 stars. You do not want to waste this opportunity. We suggest that you invite people personally off LinkedIn, first of all. Once they've agreed, then send them the invite. If people don't respond, then withdraw the invite and send it to somebody else. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, this is how it looks. It has at the top, this is a bit like other social media platforms. So you can see that here you've got 5-star reviews sitting at the top. It says 5 out of 5, which is always a good thing to have. That's why you should always ensure that people will give you a 5-star review. Underneath here, you can see there's a bit of copy. Now, that's the same length of text as you get for a connection invite message, 350 characters. It's not a great deal. It's not onerous for people, so they are quite likely to respond to your invite. It shows the person's photo, their name, and their headline. Another good reason for them to say yes and actually do it is so that they show up on your profile. And then the review, what they've reviewed you for, you choose that when you are sending them the invite, not them. And then the review sits underneath. So now what happens with this is that once somebody has reviewed you, and it goes up automatically when they take up your offer, is that you cannot change this. If somebody has written you a review that you are not happy with, you cannot take it down. And I think this is a big disadvantage of this section. You then have to ask the person who wrote it to withdraw it on your behalf. Now, I think that's a bit of a shame, but really, this is a brilliant way to be able to showcase your skills and to stand out from other people. Now, the whole providing services section has changed this year too, and we don't have time to mention it today, but you can also request proposals from people via this section now too, and it's being used a lot more in the search function. So there will be more functionality coming to this area next year. Because this is part of LinkedIn's move towards providing a B2B marketplace, which they hope will be the Amazon of the B2B world. So we'll see about that, but you can expect this whole section to do a lot better next year and to be seen by a lot more people. Newsletters arrived just a fortnight or so ago. Some people have been lucky to have had them a while. Most of us haven't. But now every man and his dog not only has been given the functionality to send newsletters, but they have taken up the opportunity. And if your inbox has been a bit like mine, you will have been deluged with them. These are 2 I just got today. I've been having 3 or 4 up to 5 a day since they first arrived. Now, personally, I think newsletters are a great idea, but I would because I'm a writer. But I do think that they are an excellent idea. Do I want to use them now while everybody is sending them out to everybody and there's a huge deluge of them? No, I don't. But here's the thing. I'm waiting for them to arrive on company pages, which my friend, colleague and co-author Michelle J. Raymond assures me is on its way. And I think that newsletters from company pages will be a great idea. This is how newsletters display. And I think they look excellent on your profile. So do take the opportunity to look at other people's newsletters and see what they are doing with them. I love the idea that you can have a big image, you can have a good headline, it has the date, also the view numbers and the reactions to it. Now, these appear in amongst articles. So that means you can have subheadings, you can have different kinds of fonts, you can have links, you can have images and videos. So I really do like the idea of having newsletters. I just don't think that it's useful to be sending them out at the moment, because you only get one opportunity to send it out the first time, and that will go to every single connection that you have. Now, from there, only people who subscribe will be able to receive it. Now, people can subscribe independently, obviously, but it's going to be hard work, I think, so getting people to subscribe to your newsletters, because there are so many of them. Now, originally, when they first started coming out, I was subscribing to quite a few, but now I've become very fussy about which ones I decide I'm going to subscribe to. And I choose only ones from people that I know, like and trust, and about topics that I'm interested in. Otherwise, I think my inbox is going to be deluged with newsletters from all over. The other thing I think it's important to think about with a newsletter, if you're wondering whether or not to set one up for yourself, is that they are quite resource intensive. You can't just churn one out every day of the week and expect to do it extremely well. A lot of newsletters, I think, will disappear very quickly because of the resources that they take in order to get them out there. Now, I think they'll be like podcasts. A lot of podcasts don't get past their 13th episode. I think we'll see the same drop-off with newsletters. However, if you want a newsletter and you want to do it regularly, but you don't think you have the resources, then that's something that we can help you with. LinkedIn company pages. These have seen so many changes this year. I didn't know which ones to tell you about today because there has been a wealth of them. We've had 2 webinars about company pages this year because they are changing so rapidly. And also my book co-authored with Michelle Raymond is called Business Gold, Building Awareness, Authority and Advantage with LinkedIn Company Pages, is being published next Friday, November the 19th, and we're looking forward to being able to have that out there in the market and helping people with their company pages. Now, a lot of people will tell you that company pages aren't worth it, but in fact they have changed so much that we disagree, and we think that if you haven't looked at company pages in a while, then take a look at them now, because it's really important to get your company page looking as good as it possibly can so that you are ahead of the game for 2022. Again, if you want help with that, then you can just get in touch with us. I'm very happy to explain how to do this or to help people with it. So some of the things that have arrived with company pages this year have been new articles, new formats. That's articles and polls, both doing quite well in terms of organic reach. Changes to the layout because there are new tabs that have arrived. Rollout of product pages. Previously, this was only available to people who had a software service, but now it's coming to all of us, which will be great. And events have been updated, and LinkedIn Lives, there have been changes to that too, to make it much easier for people to be given access to LinkedIn Live. And if you're a video person, that may well appeal to you. Previously, before this year, lives were fairly rare. Only a few people had access to them, but now they are available to a lot more of us. This is how a company page looks when somebody visits it. You can see that here it shows a number of tabs, And the new one that is quite exciting is events. Most of you will be interested in the about section of a company page and the posts, obviously. Jobs, people and insights, perhaps not so much, but definitely events. And that's the one thing that we think is doing really well, because we hold our events on our company page via LinkedIn, and that helps really with their marketing. We'll talk more about that in a little later. Right, so those are the 5 main areas of new features for 2021. How are you going to use them in 2022? Now, we think that there are 5 ways to do this as well. And if you were to spend your Christmas holidays doing these things, getting all these things set up for the new year, then you will be miles ahead of just about everybody else. So updating your profile and using all the new features is a very good way to do it. Now, because we've not mentioned all the new features here today, it's a good idea to perhaps go back over some of my previous posts on LinkedIn and catch up with some of the others. We think, as I've just mentioned, paying attention to your company page will be imperative. Not only because it can then, the logo will display on your personal profile, but if you start working on your company page now, you'll be able to begin acquiring followers. We'll talk about that in a minute. Developing relationships. Look, that's always important on LinkedIn. It's not about numbers, it's about relationships. Providing better quality content. We'll talk about that too, and holding events. So let's have a look at these. The new features, I think, are going to become more widely popular in 2022, and they will give you an edge, particularly those that people don't yet know about or haven't yet got to grips with, like the 5-star reviews. If you start now and begin working on those reviews come the beginning of the year, your profile is going to be looking really, really good. I think it's important to do a review of your profile every now and again, particularly in regard to what's new and what's best practice. So having a look to make sure that all your links work. They may look like they work on your profile, but they may not. So you want to make sure that they all definitely do, and update them if any of them are out of date. Change your banner and your headline. I think this is always a good idea. You want people who visit your profile regularly to see new material, and your banner is a good place to be able to put up what's new in your world. At the moment, my banner talks about our new book, Business Gold, and in the new year, I will change that and talk about my members site. So you can make sure that you change it to different things that you are trying to promote within your business. Now, your banner can easily be designed on Canva. There's a lot of LinkedIn templates there, and it makes it very easy to change the wording as well. Your headline is also important. Make sure that's up to date and is really a good example of telling people who you are, what you do, how you can help them, and the results they are going to get. As I've already mentioned, seeking those 20 5-star reviews is going to be important. Now, at the moment, we understand that only 20 are available until the end of the year. Now, LinkedIn hasn't yet said what's going to happen next year, whether they'll release another 20 or whether 20 is your permanent number. So I'm suggesting that people have as many as they possibly can, but maybe not the full 20 at this point, in case you can't get any more. You're not allowed to have any more. And the final thing is to check your contact details. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to miss some basic things like this. And if you've got your contact details in different parts of your profile, not just in the introduction section under contact info, then make sure that all of those are up to date as well. Now, this is a banner. I just wanted to show you this as an example of a banner that we've just put up on this account today, because it's a really good example of how you can pull different elements together. Now, the name of this lady's company is Beacon, and she liked the idea of a lighthouse beacon illuminating the work that she does. And so you can see here that what we've placed is just on the right of her photo is a lighthouse with a beam of light, and then underneath here we have got the different services that she offers. Now, we think that that is eye-catching and very clear in terms of what you do. Now, we could have put the wording in the middle across the beam of light here, and we did discuss that, but we felt that that was a bit too crowded. So you want to have a banner that is visually pleasing, but gets across all the information that you need people to know. Now, the next one of our strategies is to update or set up your company page. If you don't yet have a company page, now is the time to do that. And our book, Business Gold, has a section on making sure you know all the sections and how to do that. So you can certainly reach for that when it's out next week and use that to help you to complete it all really well. Now, we only get 100 invites a month on our company pages. So my suggestion is that you start inviting people early. That way, when they accept your invite, you get the invite returned and you can invite more people, so that by the end of the month, you might have invited potentially 200 or more people. Unlikely that everybody will accept, but what you do want to do is to give everybody the opportunity to follow your company page. You want to make sure on your company page that you are posting really good quality content. Now, that doesn't mean to say following what everybody else is doing unless they are doing this, because a lot of people think that a company page is all about me, me, me. It's all about promoting their own material, their own business, their own services, their own products, and it's not. It needs to be about building relationships and credibility with potential clients and customers. And you do that through content, not through sales pieces. I think it's really important to note the distinction. So you want to be talking in your company page posts about the different things that are going on in your industry, perhaps. You might want to be sharing some information about your company and your team, particularly those that your customers might know. You might be wanting to talk about changes to the law or something that's been in the news that affects your business or your industry. There are endless numbers and ways of writing good quality content that is not all about promoting your business. So have a think about how to do that over the holidays, and then in the new year, really begin posting content on your company page at least once a week, preferably up to 4 times a week if you can manage it. Most of us can't, but again, if that's something that you want to do but you don't have the resources for, call us. And the other aspect of this is to add a LinkedIn page follow button on your website. Now, hand up, I haven't done this myself yet, but again, this is on my list of jobs for over the holidays. LinkedIn makes this quite easy, but it is quite likely that you'll need to get in touch with your web host or developer to ask them to add this. It's a very quick job, but you probably need someone who knows what they're doing to do it for you. And what it will give you on your website is a follow button that takes people back to your LinkedIn page. If you do that, another good reason why you need to be posting good quality content and having a good number of followers on your page, so that people will see that there are good things to be seen when they visit your page. Now, pages are usually used for a business, but here's an example of a page being set up and used to promote a book, and Strangely enough, it's the book that Michelle and I are publishing next week, Business Gold. Now, we've set this up as a page on its own, with its own URL and its own following, so that we can put up quality content about the book that people will find useful and interesting. And part of what that's going to be, I imagine, is going to be the changes to company pages, because inevitably what's happening is that pages are changing dramatically all the time. And so we want to make sure that we are up to date with that, and we keep our followers up to date with that too. So this is a good page for you to follow, Business Gold, if you want to know more about company pages. And you should also follow Michelle, because she is constantly updating people about company pages. And I'm doing the odd one as well, because I think company pages are hugely important. Now, developing relationships is something that should be on everybody's top 5 list of things to be doing on LinkedIn. And the reason for that is that we all do business with people we know, like, and trust. It's not about numbers. Just because you've got a big network doesn't mean to say you're going to get a lot of business from your LinkedIn marketing. You need to be doing a lot of other things. And one of those is developing relationships with your connections and your followers. We suggest that you invite your followers to connect with you, and when they do, start a conversation. Not everybody is going to want to take up your friendly offer, but those that do could well turn into clients. Most of us who have spent time on LinkedIn know that this is where business comes from. Some of us tend not to do much other marketing. So you can be assured that once you start working with LinkedIn, if you're not marketing on it really consistently yet, once you do, the business will follow. So collaborating is one of the things that comes about by developing those conversations and those relationships. I've managed to do all kinds of things this year, including have guests on my webinars from all over the world, simply because collaboration has become really important to me, and I value the people who are prepared to collaborate with me. Now, some of those people, interestingly enough, you might consider to be competitors. Michelle, for example, is a company pages specialist. Well, I do company pages too, but I also do profile updates and LinkedIn marketing. So we do have an overlap of services, but it's not total. And we have found a way to be able to work together and to be able to collaborate on our book project, but also to have our own businesses, because we work in different ways and we help different people. And to be fair, the market is big enough for everybody. So working with people that are in your industry is not something to be sneered at. And if there are people that you like and you admire, start a conversation with them. See if they're open to having a Zoom. And if they are, then see what comes out of a conversation. But developing those relationships with people who may become customers or clients of yours is truly important. And the way you do that is by showing up on LinkedIn regularly. You make sure that you are giving and sharing good quality content, and that you are responding to other people's posts by engaging with other people's content. I think all of those things are really important. And when you do those things, this is the kind of opportunity that arises. This week and last week has seen the LinkedIn Lead Generation Summit being online. It's been a free summit with a number of different, over 21, I think, different presenters over 10 days. Put together by a colleague of mine in Australia, Kate Hoare-Lacey, and she does an amazing job. So she invited me back for the second year to be part of this summit, and I talked about company pages this year, you'll be surprised to know. And so she gets great value out of being able to invite excellent quality guests, and she had some really good people this year. But what's happened for us is that we made a free offer as part of this being on the summit, and we've had a number of people take up that offer. Now, that's a really good promotion for us. Now, that wouldn't have come about if we hadn't had a relationship or built a relationship with Kate over a period of time. It's been the same with Michelle. Michelle and I didn't know each other before this year either, but now we've written a book together. So that's the kind of collaboration and the opportunity that can come your way. Publishing more content in 2022 is going to be important. Now, of course, it's going to have to be quality content. I'm not talking about the kind of posts that don't add any value, and I'm not suggesting that you post. In fact, I would highly recommend you don't post any more than once a day, because if you do, the second post will be penalised. Now, there are some people who will post multiple times a day and a week, but my recommendation is to do the job well and keep the numbers to a number that you can manage. Because first of all, you've got to write good quality content. Then you've got to be around for the engagement to make sure that you are engaging on people's or replying to people's comments. And you want to make sure then that you follow up with people who might not be in your network and you want to invite. So if you put up a piece of content that does extremely well, it's going to give you quite a lot of work to do. So that's better to do that and do that well, rather than trying just to put up lots of posts for the sake of it. Now, we've used polls a lot this year, and that's partly because they are doing very well. Richard van der Blom's recent algorithm research discovered that they are doing 450% better than posts with a single image. So definitely use those and use those well. Instagram carousels are something that we're starting to use because we think they look great in the news feed, and they come up as document posts, which are also getting great organic reach. And the third thing on this list here is to make sure that you have an attention-grabbing headline, and that your post is long enough, at least 3 lines, to get people to click the see more button, so that it tells the algorithm to send your post to more people. Polls are doing reasonably well on company pages as well as on personal profiles. And usually you get a lot more views than you do in terms of votes, as you can see here. When you put up an Instagram style carousel, they can look quite spectacular in the news feed. And here again, you can see the first 3 lines displaying at the top here, and a short headline. And also here, the see more button will be clicked. Now, one thing that I want to mention that I have changed my mind about, because I've heard several people mention this recently, is that it is not a good idea to use fancy fonts or different formats taken from Unicode, for example, in your posts where it's important. And the reason for that is that Google and other search engines cannot index those kinds of Unicode characters. So you want to make sure, it's a shame because I just love it. I just think they make posts stand out so much better. So we are quietly moving away from using bold and italic text, and instead we will beef up anything that's important with emojis. Shame, isn't it? But you can't keep everything. And this is an example of how you would use a headline in a video. This was put up before we decided to stop bolding up the text in headlines. So if we were putting up this today, we wouldn't be doing it quite that way. Right, events. Now, these are really doing well on LinkedIn, and I personally love them. We are doing all our events on LinkedIn. As you know, they're on the actual platform we're using to host them is Zoom, but we are managing the event largely from LinkedIn. So what that means is that when we put up an event, and I'll just show you this, it actually has its own page. And you can see here, down here, transform here. That's the webinar that you are currently looking at. And you can see it's listed here on the page, on the home page, under events, on the company page, under the events as an upcoming event. And so that gives you a really good ability to promote it. Now, it also has a news feed on there, and you can put up posts on the actual event page. Let me show you that. No, that's not the event page. This shows you what happens on your company page, though, is that when you look at the events section, you can see the past events there. They stay there on your company page, presumably in perpetuity. So what that does is it shows that you have a good record of holding events on LinkedIn. Now, we really like events on LinkedIn because you can invite 1,000 people very quickly and very easily. You can use filters to decide who to invite. And also we find that people respond very well to being sent a direct message about events. The other thing that I quite like about this, and this isn't something I think that most people realize, is that your event, if somebody accepts the invite on LinkedIn, shows up in their highlights section when somebody is visiting their profile, which means that you get the benefit of that particular publicity or promotion. So it sits in the highlight section just like this, and it's a very good way of you being able to reach out to other people. So the more people who attend who connect, the more people who accept your invite to come to your event on LinkedIn, then the more profiles your event is going to be shown in. Right, so that leads me on to tell you a little more about a particular event that is happening next week, next Friday, November the 19th. So as I've mentioned a couple of times already, we are launching Business Gold next Friday. Now, we're not doing this just once. We're doing this 3 times over the course of a day for different time zones. So the 3 o'clock one, New Zealand time, 1 o'clock in Australia, is the middle one. We're doing one at 10 o'clock New Zealand time, and which is for the US market, and we're doing one at 8 p.m. my time in New Zealand for the UK market. But you are very welcome to attend any of those that suit you, and also this one here in the middle of the day at 3 o'clock. So if you are wanting to attend and find out more about company pages and why Michelle and I think that they are really important, and we've come up with more than nearly 30 reasons why having a company page is an excellent idea. We would love to see you join us next Friday for that, and there are all kinds of places you'll be able to find the link for that. Now, if you follow me or connect to me on LinkedIn, you will see my posts on a regular basis. You'll get messages from me if you connect with useful information like these webinars. You'll also get some free resources if you would like to have a look at anything that we offer. We offer a wide variety of different material for free. Of course, there's my book, LinkAbility, 4 Powerful Strategies to Maximize Your LinkedIn Success, which you can buy from my website or from online booksellers. And we have that as a paperback and also as a digital and an audio file, whichever would suit you best. And finally, our members site. We launched our members site this year, and this gives you 3 different ways to learn more about LinkedIn. It's for people who are serious about LinkedIn. We're talking about content. There's more than 100 pieces of content that we are updating all the time. We are talking about building a community of like-minded LinkedIn people who want to market themselves on LinkedIn, and we do that through a Facebook group. And we have monthly group coaching calls. And that's an opportunity for people to come along and talk about LinkedIn, the problems they're having with it, or issues and things that they might want to know about. We would love you to join us on that. And not only that, we will give you a week's free trial. So if you go to that link at the bottom of the screen there, you're very welcome to have a free week and see how you like it. We'd love to have you join us. And right there and then, I am going to stop the screen sharing, and I'm going to have a look now at the Q&A. 13 questions. We may be here all afternoon. How do you include captions? What do you recommend is the one that's what I'm going to start with, because I think that's at the top. Right. Now, we, for those, our designer does our videos, but rev.com is a really good place to get captions. It's not free, and there are plenty of free caption platforms around. Now, if you want to know more about that, the best person to help you with that is Gillian Whitney. She's a video coach from the US, from Las Vegas, and she's one of our friends, and she does a lot about talking about video. So rev.com or Gillian Whitney if you want to find out more about captions. Can we just use one of the 5 hashtags in Content Creator in a post and use up to 4 more to suit the content of the post? It's an excellent question, Simon. And I think the answer to that is probably no, that you would probably need to use 2 or 3 of those hashtags. Now, I think the only way to be certain is to try it out and see. You should be able to find relatively quickly the result of doing it one way or the other. I think that the important thing to remember with this is that the hashtags you use have to have a good number of followers. If they don't, then you won't have the post seen by as many people, because your posts will appear in the news feeds of the people who follow those particular hashtags. So I think it's important to look at the number of followers each hashtag has. This is a very popular question, the difference between 5-star reviews and recommendations. The position on your profile is probably the simplest, easiest, and most ridiculous answer. Your profile reviews sit at the top, your recommendations sit right at the bottom. Now, if you've got a long profile like I do, then people may not get to the bottom. They might scroll to the bottom to look at your recommendations, which is what you really want. But I think that having reviews on that section in the profile providing services section, I beg your pardon, is going to become more important. To be fair, I'm not sure that any of us really fully understand how that section is going to work when it is complete. But regularly, almost every month, there seems to be something new added to that section. And I discovered this week, and it may not be new, it just may be that I had noticed it before, a kind of menu that appeared in the providing services. So I could easily flip between the different sections. And so I think there are going to be more changes to this, which is going to mean that those 5-star reviews are going to be seen more widely. And particularly because people will use them more and they'll become more widespread and better known. But why they've got reviews and recommendations, LinkedIn would have to answer that question. Providing services, how does this relate or work for freelancers? I think this can work really well for freelancers because you provide a number of different services, no doubt, to different clients. And so listing those services in the providing services section will help, I think, people to be able to know what it is that you do. Now, I think that it might be that the name has changed, and I'm not entirely certain that it's not called something else in the Northern Hemisphere. It's called providing services here, but it was called something else for quite some time in the United States, at least. And I think that that's possibly where the confusion is, that that it's called something else and people don't see it for being the same thing. I may be wrong about that, but it's certainly there for everybody who is offering services of some kind. Now, now I think that's you, Vicky. Now, if you want to talk to me more about that, can you just get in touch with me and let's pursue that a bit further, because I'd like to know a bit more about what it is that you're asking there. Do MailChimp and newsletter work together? Short answer, no. Don't even know what the long answer is. Probably still no. How do you know if you've got newsletter access? I don't have newsletter access, Phil, and so but I understand that there are two potential ways. First of all, that they will let you know that you'll get a message of some kind, either an email or a notification. The second way is if you go to the write an article section, as if you were putting up a post, but instead go to write an article, and you go to the publishing option or drop-down menu at the top left in that page, it should say newsletter. Now, I've not seen it yet. None of my clients have yet got the feature. I'm trying hard not to take this personally, and it may be that LinkedIn might see fit not to let me have it at all, but I will be interested to see how it does look when it does arrive, and I'll be certain to take a screenshot and share it, because I think that that's something a lot of people are going to want to know. Is the cover story video something that we will also see on company pages? Now, that's a very good question, but I don't know the answer to that. Michelle will, and because you've asked it here, and thank you for that, I will ask her, because that is a very good point. And I don't know whether that will happen or not. There are a lot of things that company pages don't yet offer. One of them is direct messaging, and clearly this might be something that might be on the wish list as well. I'm saying watch this space. Vicky's asked again, are reviews only for self-employed or businesses? So no, how do employees use them? I think in the same way, if you've got people in your company or people you've worked for before, I'd use them very much like recommendations and ask people to write a review of you for that particular section. Should they be different people from the people who've written your recommendations? I don't think that matters particularly, but I do think it's important to have some. So I would suggest that perhaps it might be better if they were, in fact, people who were employers. Now, this is not designed for that, but I like to use LinkedIn in some weird and wonderful ways, and I don't see that you as an employee should miss out on being able to use this simply because you don't have your own business. So I think look at it a different way. Think about the people who would say nice things about you. Who might they be? People in your networking groups, people that you are business colleagues with, and people from former companies, people that you admire in the industry. I think once you start thinking about it, you'll be able to find a variety of different people. I think that reviews will help findability on LinkedIn, absolutely. I've got no conclusive proof of that, but I do think that that's going to make a difference, because that whole providing services section is all about making people more visible and being able to help people find work. Right, and where are we? Sandra here. Very good. All right, that's very nice. Phil, any way to see your most recent connections so you can invite them to follow your company page? Yes. Now, if you go to the My Network page and go to Connections on the left-hand side, it's on the top of that menu. Click on that, it will give you all your new connections. And if you go down a couple of points, this is but it doesn't say connections, it says people I follow, which is odd. If you click on people I follow, it will also show you the people who are following you, again, by chronological order with the most recent first. So you can then go through and ask those people if they want to connect to you. He's saying it takes years to scroll through that. Phil, if you still have trouble with that, get in touch with me and I can help you on that one. Can you schedule LinkedIn posts like Instagram? Yes, you can use third-party platforms to schedule LinkedIn posts. I don't use that personally, but that's because I don't like the way that they sometimes format them. It would be hugely useful to use it, I agree, but also I like to be around to make sure that there is engagement happening when the posts first go up, so scheduling them is no advantage to me. But I had seen recently in LinkedIn algorithm research that using a scheduler does not impact the reach, particularly of posts, where it did before. So I think that's a positive thing for people who are interested in doing that or who need to do that. And Rebecca, finally, I think, yes, interested when to post if you don't post once a day. Still Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, that's what we find. Tuesdays and Thursdays are great days. But here's something else that's interesting. Saturdays are often becoming a good day. Now, you wouldn't expect that to be the case, but in fact it is. And the reason for that is because fewer people are using the newsfeed. Fewer people are posting. And so it makes sense then that there's less competition on the newsfeed and your posts will do well. The other thing that I like about posting on a Saturday is that somehow it encourages you to be a little more informal and to talk a bit more about yourself or your life. And there is certainly more of that happening on LinkedIn, and that's something that I'm enjoying seeing too. Look, I don't want to see what people have had for lunch. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really happy to learn a bit more about people because it builds that relationship and helps develop that credibility with people. So Saturdays are also a good day for posting. We never post on a Friday, particularly because unless we want to do it early in the morning and reach the UK market from Thursday night, because we don't find posts on Thursdays do particularly well. Now then, thank you very much for all of you for coming to the webinar today. It's been lovely to see so many of you, particularly given that November has been such a busy month with so many events on. So I am particularly gratified that you would take time out of your busy days to join us today. I do hope that some of you will also join us next Friday for the launch of Business Gold with Michelle, and we are definitely looking forward to that being turned right into a riotous party. Now, we are going to take a break from LinkAbility webinars for now, and we will be back in the new year. In the meantime, though, we will be posting on LinkedIn. We'll be active on our members site. And if you have any questions from today that you would like to ask me about, please do feel to DM me or get in touch via LinkedIn or via email. You'll find my email address all over my profile. So thanks again, everyone, for being here today. It's been a great pleasure, and wishing you all the best for the rest of 2021, and may 22 be a whole lot better for all of us. Thanks again. Bye for now.